It is Friday, November 10th, 2017. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And I'm still laughing about this, but I've been hitting up the Telegram like really hard for like the last couple days or whatnot. And I just get off the treadmill, get done stretching, because we did not get our asses kicked at jiu-jitsu today. It just didn't happen. We had priorities, and if I get lucky enough, I may actually upload the picture of something I dealt with today on the Telegram. I don't know. I may. But anyway, I come in, and like one of the first words I see in there is strategy. And it just it catches on to my mind. I'm like, strategy? I'll tell you all my strategy. To buy y'all coins on the cheap. And it's just like, oh, the timing was perfect. I spaced it out just long enough for them to be like, okay, what's your strategy? I'll tell y'all, I'm going to buy y'all coins cheap. I did a little bit of that already. If you've been watching that price on Verge, it's been kind of what I would expect. I mean, I know I sound like a kind of a jerk off with that. I mean, but it's been, it was basically flatline. When I went to sleep last night, it was just bouncing around between, I think it was like 101 and 102, or like 104. But like, it was going down by like 1 Satoshi, and if you were like really watching it, it was almost an imperceptible drift, because it would be like it'd be held up for like a 40-minute interval where it would go from 1 Satoshi down to the next Satoshi down to the next Satoshi down. And so like I was seeing this drift, and I'm like, I bet you anything there's a knife catch in here I could probably take advantage of sometime between now and when I wake up. And so just to do it, I set up 2 orders, one to buy, one to sell. Woke up this morning, the buy actually cleared. And that one was like I said, if you look at that chart, you'll see the divot where it happened, because it's like really short, really sweet, bam, bam. And it's like, I mean, I don't say it like I'm bragging, because like really, I'm like the lamest fucking trader in the entirety of fucking crypto. I'd be the first person to tell you this. I suck. I can't tell you how many fucking opportunities I've missed while sitting and watching that fucking Verge chart. It's just astronomical how much fucking money that's been made all around me while I'm just like, I'm just going to trade this thing. And so, that's my own fault. But like, check this. Like, I give you an example of how those knife catch trades, if you just set them up and you just leave them alone, walk away from them, how they can really pay off. I held one, and this is so fucking imprudent and so impractical, and so much shit could go wrong between the time you actually set the trade and it actually cleared. I'm not instructing you to do this. This is not a try at home kind of thing, but this is my kind of mentality when it comes to trading, right? So if you look back in time, there was a spot where Verge just like really climbed. It got up to around like 50 Satoshis. They found us and they traded the fuck out of us for a couple days, and then they went away, right? Well, there was that period after there, and if you look, it's just like this fucking flat line, and just it lasts forever. I was holding through that entire time. I had a sell order because I was working all that action going up and down, up and down, up and down. I had a sell order that it never hit the fucking sell order. The fucking tide went out. All went wrong in, whatever. But anyway, I left it. And it was just for an outrageous sum, because I was expecting this this spike to just carry off in a never land. And it was a sell order, or it was a sell order for 135 Satoshis. And I left it alone. And between the time I set that order till the time it cleared, Verge had actually been down to 3 Satoshis. And I left it there the whole fucking time. Because, I mean, by then it's like, okay, there's no place to go but up from here, right? And look where we are. Look where we are now. Look where we've been since. So that faith was like, restored. And then that shit went back down. And I had another order that I expected it to hit. It didn't hit, but I left it alone. And before I knew it, that one was rewarded. And so, have a little bit of faith. But I'm not saying like, tie yourself off to the mast and go down with the ship. It's not necessarily a prudent idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music here. And I've been wanting to start it off with something from 0 Days for a while now. So let's go ahead with Divide and Conquer here on Coin Metal. And that was Within the Ruins with New Holy War. God damn, I still love that song. It's been about, I want to say I discovered them in 2014, and I love their stuff. They tend to be a teeny tiny bit repetitious with some of their themes. I think they kind of confuse that as being their style, but I don't know. I'm not Within the Ruins, so I don't really follow bands as closely as I used to, so I don't know. Maybe if I do a little investigation, I can find out a little bit more about the band and speak a little more intelligently about their constituency and how it may have actually changed over their duration of their career. But I don't know, that for the most part, I find all of their stuff to be very, very, very tight. It's like they're making their music as one cohesive unit, and I think that's one of those things that gets lost or that's been getting lost over the last, I want to say 3 or 4 decades. The whole driver mechanism, the whole reward mechanism behind artists and their ability to be rewarded for their works has changed a great deal over the last 3 or 4 decades. I mean, it really didn't pick up, I don't think, until the 50s, where record companies were really abusing their position and controlling so much about what kind of media that we could be introduced to. And even now there are attempts to try and contain that back down to just a finite number of content producers. But, that's one of the things that I think about with regard to this show and the medium itself. I think that, I don't know, I would really like to expand my distribution at some point or another, by some means or another. But, I'm happy with doing it the way we're doing it now, honestly. I think it enables a type of media that didn't exist before. And, I do see ways to make it, a profitable venture and whatnot, but really that's not what drives me about doing it. What drives me about doing it is that I look at other people doing it, and I don't necessarily agree with the prevailing messages that they seem to be conveying. It's like they all have this certain perspectives that they're driving in the memetics of how they convey their ideas about cryptocurrencies. And it's not that I feel that it's toxic or anything like that. It's just it gives me a feeling there's some sort of uniformity behind it, But that's just like my conspiratorial spidey sense going off there. But it seems to me that when people are talking about cryptocurrencies nowadays, they aren't talking about either themselves being involved in them and what they're doing with them, or what other people could be doing with their project. And I think that's kind of unfortunate. You actually have to look specifically for things like resources to get started on mining. You don't see an article on fucking Bloomberg about, how to set up your own DIY fucking Ethereum mining operation or shit like that. They don't convey to you a memetics that keeps you in the concept. It's like they convey them in such a way where you just are subjected to these things. It's like this whole SegWit 2x business that was all driven off of one motherfucking subreddit. One subreddit entry, and the entire fucking planet said, SegWit 2x is off! Are you fucking kidding me? And it's like, did the guy that wrote the fucking thing bother to talk to anybody? Was his email account hacked? Was his Reddit account hacked? What the fuck initiated this email? Because I find one email that says that, or the one Reddit message on there that says that, and then I find websites saying the exact opposite, that SegWit 2x is still on. And I'm sure if I look on CoinDance, there's still some fucking hashing power, probably over 50%, still flagging support for it. So, as far as how that whole thing is going to play out, I don't know. I will say this. I read something from Jihan Wu, and I guess this was either yesterday or the day before, and I saw a false equivocation attributed to it, and I'd like to clarify, at least for my own sanity kind of thing. Like, Jihan was saying that, no matter what happens with regard to who dedicates the hashing power to what becomes the longest chain, so on and so forth, regardless of that, Bitcoin Cash should always be acknowledged as being Bitcoin Cash and not necessarily Bitcoin, because apparently there's some sort of difference now. And so I can see the validity of that, and I think that if you do want to change something about Bitcoin, that you actually have to change it on the Bitcoin blockchain, on the Bitcoin, what's being widely acknowledged as the Bitcoin blockchain. However, I've tended to call it SegWit coin because it was all being set up for being SegWit coin and Lightning Network and all that other business. And so, if we see like a 180 degree turn from that back to let's make the fucking blocks bigger and get the fuck over this bullshit, then I'll start believing that the core gives a fuck about the network and isn't abusing their position for political and monetary gain. And that's just my perspective on it. And as a matter of fact, I read something somewhere. I gotta find the article for it. I had to nuke my browser at one point today because I was hanging up and had to do a douche and rinse on the machine. But anyway, it was some CEO or another saying that eventually the driver for wanting to push people into SegWit is all monetarily driven by this Blockstream company. And if that's the case, it's very unfortunate. But then again, that's just what we're seeing on the surface. I bet I could go to the GitHub repository and find all kinds of shit that is up there that wasn't created by some sponsor from AXA or fucking Blockstream or somebody that's funded by them on their behalf or whatever. But the what's being reported anyway on the in most of the media, like Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, MSNBC, CNBC, they're all saying that it's off. And it's like, dude, really? Did you guys bother to do any investigation? Did you bother to go to any of the sites that show you the network metrics of what's live right now and find out exactly what's going on right now? Because honestly, I think the dissimilarity between what's going on right now and the claims made in that post, I think that's the biggest story out of all of it. You got to start looking at, there's a story there. I guarantee you, there's a story in like the source of the fucking the original post, and how the hell did it get all to CNBC, and how is it spun to them that this is some wonder butt story that they should latch on to? I can't believe it was something that they thought of doing. It was probably a fucking story sold to them. Or given to them. Hey, got enough media on Bitcoin? Here, report this. This is big news. And I mean, because when you read through all the articles, at least like, I want to say 20-30% were copy and pasted sections of that particular post. So, what's really going on there? Personally, it seems more and more like a limited number of people, small group of people, maybe 10, maybe 15 at the top, is been doing that stuff. They've been posting all over Twitter and posting all over Facebook and other social media and to these news outlets. And you know what? Nobody said this game was going to be fair. And nobody said everybody was going to tell the truth about their shit, because, well, it's kind of obvious that we can't trust people, right? It's kind of why we're here to begin with. Abuse of trust. And as a matter of fact, speaking of abuse of trust, and this one, you could have seen it coming a bazillion fucking miles away. I mean, when I first read that there was such a thing as this, I thought it was so fucking ridiculous, because I just read a series of articles previous to it at the time that I came across this about military grade transmitters and shit being put in Barbie dolls and all kinds of fucking Wi-Fi equipment to network the fucking Barbie doll to the home Wi-Fi network, and it's just so fucking crazy to me, And so I thought, while I was reading this originally, I mean, I immediately knew this was not going to be good. So I'm going to click on this thing and see if there's an actual full-length story to this. Let's see here. Settlement's website, blah blah blah, update settlement, blah. Because there's this thing, and I'll start reading it. It's from Slashdot. Sex toy company admits to recording users' remote sex sessions. Calls it a, quote, minor bug. And this was posted by BuHD on November 10th, 2017 at 9:05 p.m. from Invasion of Privacy Department. Oh, shit. So, here we go. According to Reddit user Jolio Schmolio, Hong Kong-based sex toy company Lovense remote control vibrator, Lovense Remote, recorded a used session without their knowledge. An audio file lasting 6 minutes was stored in the app's local folder, reports The Verge. Okay, so there is a story somewhere around here. We're going to find it. Here it is. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to keep doing that because I was putting up a bunch of tabs in the background there to see if I could actually find the story that Slashdot got this thing from, and so I've got it now. And here we go. Boy. And this is on TheVerge.com. A sex toy company admits to recording users' remote sex sessions, calls it a minor bug. This is by Ashley Carmen, no penis. November 10th, 2017, 2:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have some news. The Internet of Things is a mess. A hacked refrigerator sounds slightly scary, but a vibrator controlling app that records all your sex sounds and stores them on your phone without your knowledge? That's way worse. Today, a Reddit user pointed out that Hong Kong-based sex toy company Lovin's remote control vibrator app, Lovin's Remote, recorded a use session without their knowledge. An audio file lasting 6 minutes was stored in the app's local folder. The users say he or she gave the app access to the mic and camera, but only to use with the in-app chat function and to send voice clips on command, not constant recording when in use. Other users confirmed this app behavior too. A user claiming to represent Lovin's responded and called this recording a, quote, minor bug that only affects Android users. Lovin's also says no information or data was sent to the company's servers and that this audio file exists only temporarily. An update issued today should fix the bug. We've reached out to Lovin's to verify this comment, and we'll update you when we hear back. Excuse me. This isn't Lovin's first security flub. Earlier this year, a butt plug made by the company The Hush, was also found to be hackable. In the butt plug's case, the vulnerability had to do with Bluetooth as opposed to the company spying on users. In separate cases unrelated to the Lovin's, a company called WeVibe was sued after its Bluetooth-enabled vibrators allegedly collected and recorded users' personal information. The company ended up settling the class action suit for $3.75 million. All of this is to say that if you're going to purchase connected sex toys, do your research. Trust in the toys makers is essential. Still, vulnerabilities exist in any smart device, so recognize the risks before going online. Jesus. Now, what is so goofy about your sex life that you need a network-connected butt plug? I mean, really, folks, you're getting far out into the woods with that business. But, I mean, I'm not judging. I'm not here to judge what you do. You know, it's your body. But, yeah, that's just not right. There's just something not right about that. I mean, I don't see like any kind of like decency in any of this. You know, it's like why the fuck would you want this shit? I mean, and especially now when we all we know how to do with this stuff is spy on one another with it. It's not like we're actually using it for anything terribly socially useful. It's like blockchain. That is such an abused term, blockchain. You know, it's like everybody wants to put everything on the blockchain, and you got to wonder exactly what they're talking about because it's a very innocuous term. It could mean several things. You know, they could be talking about a blockchain between a series of their own private nodes, in which case it's not much better than a distributed database. Or they could be talking about something where they're attaching it to the Bitcoin blockchain, in which case what's the guarantee of legitimacy if it's not an actual function of Bitcoin to be looking out for it, you know? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. But anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into a little bit of music before we venture off into the and then the next stage of this, I'm just following links on this one, man. I'm not sure where to go with it, but I'm going with it because honestly, I'm tired of reporting on the SegWit business and all that. I think that the whole thing has gotten so convoluted that, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens on the 15th. It's only 5 days away, right? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down in some old school Sepultura roots, bloody roots, here on Coin Metal. And that was Prong with Remove, Separate Self. And, I've been following Prong for a very, very, very long time. I don't know, I would imagine Tommy's probably actually working on a new one right now. Either that or he's still touring for 0 days, but you never know. He's always involved in something. It's either his stuff or it's stuff for Danzig, or I don't think he does anything for Ministry anymore, but I don't know. Anyway, before the music break, we had touched on at least one of the problems of IoT. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to get into today. But we're going to get into this first. We're going to finish off with this, and then we're going to go into one of my kind of pet peeve subjects that came back up again, and we're going to have to dive into it. Anyway, this one is on Motherboard. Security researchers hacked a Bluetooth-enabled butt plug. The quest for a secure wireless sex toy continues. This is by Daniel Oberhaus, written October 17th, 2017. The rectums of the world are clenched in fear after Italian InfoSec researcher Giovanni Molini revealed just how easy it is to hack a Bluetooth-enabled butt plug in a blog post on Tuesday. The device in question is Hush by Lovins, which is billed by the company as the world's first teledidonic butt plug that you can control from anywhere. Unfortunately for Lovins, the butt plug has also joined a host of other teledidonic products that are remarkable for being insecure. In other words, even though you can control your butt plug, quote, from anywhere, it would appear that anyone within Bluetooth range can control it too. That's just so wrong. Oh God. Continuing. As detailed by Molini in his blog post, he was able to hack the butt plug using a Bluetooth low energy scanner developed by Simone Margitelli and freely available on GitHub. Bluetooth is considered to be not the most secure way to send information wirelessly, but its low energy version is even more vulnerable to attacks. Still, it has found wide use in Internet of Things devices because it drains less battery to use. As Margitelli wrote about the scanner used in the butt plug attack, BLE is a cheap and very insecure version of Bluetooth in which you have no channel hopping and no built-in protocol security. This makes it relatively easy to execute a man-in-the-middle attack in which a hacker could trick the butt plug into thinking it's talking to the user's phone and to capture information packets being sent between the devices, aka sniffing. So why would anyone put BLE on a device then? Per Margitelli's Margitelli's blog post, if you want to build and sell some IoT smart whatever crap, and you want to do it quickly because your competitor is about to go on the market with the same shit,
You are Bluetooth. You take Bluetooth, you strip it from the very close to decent things it has, and voila, you have a BLE-enabled device. Using this tool in tandem with the Lovin's phone app, Malini said he was able to remotely pair the butt plug without any sort of authentication, password, or PIN. After he had paired with the butt plug, he was able to make it vibrate on command. The device can be remotely operated from up to 30 feet away while the user is standing, or up to 10 feet away while the user is sitting, according to Lovin's website. This means a ne'er-do-well would have to be pretty close to the butt plug in question to commandeer it. Still, the Lovin's app is connected to the internet, which means an enterprising hacker could take advantage of the vulnerabilities discovered by Malini for a truly remote butt plug hack. According to Malini, this hack likely could have been avoided by choosing a less insecure wireless protocol. It is very easy to hack BLE protocol due to poor design choices, Malini wrote. Welcome to 2017. Motherboard reached out to Lovin's for comment and will update this post if we hear back. The sex toy industry has made a valiant effort to reinvent itself by connecting pleasure gadgets to the internet, but so far the nascent teledildonics space has been plagued by insecure smart dildos. Privacy will be key if teledildonics are ever going to be adopted in a big way, but for now, these inanimate objects are just a little too public. Kind of gives a new meaning to the word backdooring, doesn't it? Oh god, that's so sad. So sad. You know what this is really for, don't you? It's so that they can take a whole bunch of different stimuli providers. Like for men it'd be some sort of butt plug, and for women it'd be a dildo or something like that. And when you're in space, you won't be able to get to your nether regions because of, spacesuit and all. You're gonna be living in that thing for a little while, so maybe months at a time while you're mining. And so, they have to have some sort of reward system because you can't take the suit off, right? So if you mine really hard, they give you a little twitch in the rear, or, little pounding in the vag from Earth, I don't know. Or some sort of connection maybe with, what do you call it, VR, virtual reality. Yeah. That's probably it right there. Anyway, it's fucking hilarious though, man. Somebody being able to hack this shit remotely. That's just, could you imagine that? There would be some crazy freak that would try and have the thing in them while they were in public. And, it's like, I don't know, maybe that could be like the new Craigslist game. Where instead of doing the adult bookstore meetup, you give somebody the Bluetooth ID for the sex toy. and so the Bluetooth ID for the sex toy, so that they'll be able to detect which one, which device it is that they're trying to pair with, and maybe in a crowded area or whatever, and just sit there and zap you while you're in public. I don't know. The future is weird, man. It's 2017. People are getting freaky. But it's so hilarious to me that this shit is so easy to hack. Really, this is not. And why would you want to do that? It's bad enough that the shit is electronic, to vibrate or create additional stimuli or whatever. But And now you're going to hook it to somebody's phone app? Why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, why not just give it a remote control with the goddamn toy? I mean, because it's about the same range. You know, it's about the range of a TV remote. So, you know, what's the utility of it if it can be fucking hacked and put on the internet? I don't get it. I mean, unless you're specifically trying to have this kind of thing happen, it being hacked like this. It's just like back in the day. I can't remember how long ago it was. I want to say it was like 2011, 2012. There was this outbreak at this high school of these video clips being taken from laptops that were lent out from a high school. So, like, you know, it was part of a high school education program that these kids were lent laptops, right? Well, they had cameras on them. Well, I think it was like the principal or somebody else was spying on the students through the fucking camera on the fucking computer. I mean, that's such a violation of the Fourth Amendment. I mean, number one, why would it be so hackable? I mean, you know, if you're obviously in somebody else's profile, like, you know, say you had the kids set up a profile in the Apple computer, why are the security settings on that so lax that they could be spied on like that? I mean, was this something by Apple or what? I don't know. I just, it's part of that thing with the loss of privacy, and everybody kind of, or at least a lot of people, quote unquote, accept it. I think if people were given more choice in the matter, they would absolutely opt out. You know, if there were applications that were equivalent or better that didn't gather as much information or didn't want to access your fucking video camera or your microphone, you know, whenever it wants to for whatever reason, you know, it's like Pandora. I have a love-hate relationship with Pandora because that fucking thing records everything you do. I mean, it might as well just be like a spy. It might as well just like say NSA spy application, because it gathers so much fucking information on you. It gathers so much information on you. It knows by the sounds going on in the background of what you are doing, what commercials to play. Can you believe this shit? I mean, I have to tell people this. Like, you know, I told my cousin this, and he just kind of laughed it off. And I said, you watch. Okay, next time you use Pandora while you're working on your vehicle, I want you to put the fucking device to where it can see you or at least hear you. And I want you to listen to what commercials it plays while you are doing whatever the fuck it is that you're doing. If you're working on the vehicle, you know, again, put it close enough to where it can hear you or see you. And before you know it, it will be playing you ads for the local fucking, O'Reilly Auto Parts for me, because they're like really close to where I'm at, right? Now, see, I have GPS turned off on my device, supposedly, right? But because the device has the capability of giving away my GPS position, it gives away my GPS position. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there's some sort of thing in Pandora that says I want to be able to access your GPS no matter where the fuck you are or whatever. And it's like part of the EULA, End User License Agreement. And but like I said, it'll just start playing that, and like it'll play an ad for a local what's that? auto sales place. Like there's some big auto sales place around here, and Lithia Dodge. Yeah, that's what it is. Lithia Dodge. Fuck. As soon as I'm working on my vehicle, if it can see me or hear me, it'll play ads for Lithia Dodge and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, you want to tell me this thing isn't spying on me? You know, I'll have it out in the garden, right? It'll be playing me ads for Jerry's, which is one of the local hardware places, or Ace Hardware, or some shit like that. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Are you spying on me that fucking hard? And why? I mean, am I supposed to feel grateful for that you want to pay attention to me so badly? And I mean, and really, who are you giving this information to? You know, is it like a reciprocal thing with just the manufacturers or the retailers that you're selling ad space to, or is it like the NSA, the CIA, the DOJ, what the fuck, the BATF, Homeland Security? I don't know. It's a strange world we're coming into, but the fortunate thing about all of it is that it all costs money, and eventually I don't think that they're going to have enough money to keep doing this level of spying on us. I mean, I know that they'd like to make a lot of it automated and whatnot, but there's so much nuance in human verbal communication that even with all of the different algorithms and shit that or different tools, I should say, that they use to monitor our speech and whatnot and determine actual intent, I don't know, I feel like there's something that is always going to be lost. You know, there's always going to be a little glitch in the matrix where we just don't fully buy into it, you know? Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down a little bit of music here. I want to throw in some Ministry, because I haven't played any fucking Ministry tonight. And let's go here on Coin Metal. And that was Fatal Illusion by Megadeth. Oy. Man, I don't know what it is, but there's something about even new recordings where for whatever reason the fucking volumes are always different. It's like you'd think that at some point or another they would find like a universal range, you know, that it's like, okay, you're really testing the limit if you're hitting up here, but you know, this is really where you want to, you know, bring it all down to. I don't know. Maybe that's like some sort of censorship to try and push that. But anyway, I'm done with the hackable fucking sex toys. I think that's just so fucking ridiculous. Networked sex toys, and to the end of like botnets via the Internet of Things, or just botnets in general. It's come up again. And I swear, we're going to find out that in like late 2006, throughout 2017, that like 99% of Monero's hashing power was derived straight from botnets. And here it is. UFC in hot water as Monero miner found on official website. And this was on November 9th, 2017 by Raul Ibrahim Parath. I think penis, yes. A cryptocurrency miner was discovered running on the UFC.tv website, UFC's official pay-per-view service, which affected both paying and non-paying customers of the website. Visitors to the site would be victim to malicious code that would secretly use up all of their processor resources in the background. It later turned out this code mined Monero, a privacy-focused cryptocurrency, for the duration of the victim's stay on the UFC website. These days, Bitcoin mining is usually reserved for specific hardware running in server farms. Mining Bitcoin alone using ordinary computers has become unprofitable for several years now. This problem does not affect all cryptocurrencies, though, much like the one used in this case. Some cryptocurrencies are specifically designed not to require specialized hardware to mine, in a bid to achieve true decentralization. Monero, being one of them, is exactly what CoinHive, a JavaScript-based miner, has been taking advantage of. The miner runs in a web browser and doesn't make itself visible. It just invisibly sits in the background while consuming precious CPU resources. By leveraging the power of tens of thousands of computers visiting that particular website at any given time, the payout for the website owner would be massive. A Reddit user, Gamble Club, noticed his antivirus notifying him of CoinHive script and posted the incident online. And let's go ahead and click on that too. He reached out to UFC soon after via email for a comment on the topic. One day after Gamble Club's Reddit post gained popularity, UFC replied to his email stating that they found no evidence of CoinHive's JavaScript within their site's code. This, however, seems unlikely since there have been multiple reports of similar behavior on the UFC TV website. The code responsible for the mining seems to be gone at last. That's interesting. Browser-based JavaScript miners have only recently gained popularity, especially after the notorious torrent website, the Pirate Bay, secretly implemented it in September of 2017. Since then, a number of websites added and experimented with the miners. Most of the websites got rid of them almost immediately due to poor user experience or complaints. Some continue to stand by this move, however, justifying it as an additional source of revenue when advertisements prove to be insufficient. One thing of note, though, is that most websites implementing these background miners tend to be linked to privacy or... Oh shit. Clicked on the wrong one, sorry. Is that most websites implementing these background miners tend to be linked to privacy or other dubious activity. This incident is one of the few to be found on a commercial website, which further points to possible nefarious activity. Secretive cryptocurrency miners are only new to web browsers, though. Desktop applications have been used to run Bitcoin miners for several years now. This story from PC Gamer from 2013 demonstrates. The legal complications that come with bundling Bitcoin miners are also massive. The above incident caused this company to be sued by users who claimed that prolonged mining left their computers damaged permanently. At the end of the day, the UFC incident has only further underscored the need for antivirus and content blockers that block JavaScript code, such as that of CoinHive's, from running at all. Yeah. So like I said, we're going to find out that Monero is mined almost exclusively by botnets through this CoinHive shit. And I can tell you from my own experience with the CoinHive thing that the website is just the delivery means. Now, whether it's actually UFC or Showtime or the Pirate Bay that were the initiators of it, that's what remains in question. See, I think that it could just be that there are sophisticated hackers out there who know where the servers are of these places are and can hack them, or at least act as a man in the middle. And so while somebody is accessing the website or accessing content on the website, they somehow or another manage to get their shit injected into your computer that way. But the thing is that it's not just present on your computer while you are on the website. After it's delivered and it's running on your computer, basically what it does is it guts your browser. Like, as soon as you have your browser open, you might as well be opening a mining application, because as soon as you open your browser, it starts mining. It takes your browser and turns it into an overlay on top of a mining application, and it mines Monero in the background, and it mines Monero with like 90% of your fucking processing power. So it's like everything is laggy, while your browser is open. As soon as you close your browser, though, everything is fine. But as soon as you open up your browser, the fucking thing starts right up again. And so, there's a point where it could be possibly a beneficial thing to where it becomes a not beneficial thing, a detrimental thing. And this CoinHive thing clearly exceeds into the detrimental, because, like I said, it guts your fucking computer and it fucking runs this fucking Monero script. Now, let's see here. I was looking up the Reddit thing here, and let's click on the original here. Oh, that's not it. That's not what we want. Let's see. Fight Pass is shady. YSK UFC Fight Pass is using your PC to mine crypto. Your CPU is being used to mine without your knowledge on a service you already pay for. Oh, wow. That's fucked up. Let's see what the comments are. Oh, and it's got the top 200 comments here. Cryptocurrencies mined by your computer using complete complex math equations. Typically, this is much more efficient on a GPU than a CPU, but more and more people using botnets to mine. This action might be hidden in the code via user-side executable scripts like JavaScript, like here, or hidden behind menus or secret agreements like in uTorrent. Ooh. Let's see here. So it seems the official policy is to deny this ever happened, say nothing is wrong, and sweep it under the rug. Look at the amount of people that experience this linked in this comment. Why would so many people have the reason to lie about this happening to them? Does UFC have a reason to lie about this ever happening? Look into it. That's all I'm saying. I noticed this because my antivirus kept pinging off every time I went on Fight Pass. It's not harmful as far as I know, but doing this on a service we're paying for is fucked up in my opinion. I researched CoinHive, mentioned by my antivirus, and found the JavaScript on their website, and sure enough, it's running on Fight Pass. Right after you log in, notice the welcome at the bottom behind the virus notification, blah, blah, blah. It appears it's been removed now. Still, this is really bad that they tried to do this. Damn, this blew up. For all the people saying it was something on my end, such as an ad or a browser plugin, here is a different screenshot from Twitter, same account, blah, blah, blah. Here's another tweet from 39 hours ago, blah, blah, blah. So, let's see. Don't understand what was happening. Your device or computer could have potentially been used to mine cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is one you may have heard of, but it's not the only one being mined in this case. while if you had Fight Pass tab open. This can cause your CPU on a computer to work harder, costing more in electricity, although likely minimal amounts, or causing your battery to drain on your mobile device. It is likely that if you're mining, you would see a negative impact on your performance due to increased workload. It can also cost you more in electricity on a wired device, although minimal. There's also a slight potential that over time, increased strain on your electronic components lead to damage and shorter lives of said components. So what's the problem? Firstly, the UFC have not addressed this at all, despite having at least 20 hours of people telling them about it. Secondly, there was no notification of that data mining was happening, no option or consent to allow it, as it happened automatically, and judging by the ELIS posts, very little understanding of the ramifications by most people using the site. Thirdly, this is a service that we already pay for. This is one of the biggest issues people are overlooking. If they want to mine cryptocurrency on your computer instead of using advertisements or subscriptions, that is one thing. But if you're already paying for Fight Pass subscription, you should not be paying extra to make someone else money, even if it costs you 0.00000 cent. It is in the principle. Who did it and why it is really important. At this point, there are 3 people who could be responsible. Number 1, the UFC. Most unlikely. 2, and just a side note on bullet point 1 here, the UFC, I happen to agree with that assessment only because, number 1, not that these guys aren't tech savvy with media and shit, but that's like a little bit above their level of sophistication or interest. And they're making so much fucking money on these fights. Even if they are losing money, they probably got insurance on losses and shit like that that would cover them a lot more than what a cost of face this would actually mean for them. So I'm not going to put it above them 100%, only because I sometimes suspect shenanigans here and there, but that's just me. But I don't think they would dive to those kind of depths. That's just my feeling on bullet point 1, the UFC, under who did it and why it really is important. Number 2, a rogue employee contractor of the UFC, such as a web developer behind Fight Pass. That is a far more likely candidate in my book. Number 3, a hacker unaffiliated with the UFC. And number 3 is, I would say, probably the absolute most likely of the 3 here. Maybe a subcontractor, you know, like some image developer or some, you know, somebody who writes the JavaScript applets for the website. You know, it's like they put a little injection script in some fucking agreement thing for like the JavaScript for the agreement where you sign on for the EULA. That's like, that initiates the download or some shit like that. And ultimately they could go back and say, well, you clicked I agree. If you really dig down into the fucking EULA, there it is. Anyway, let's continue on with this because somebody actually got comprehensive about this. Here is the concerning thing. In the unlikely event that this was intentionally done by the UFC, it is at best extremely unethical in many people's opinions, and including my own. At worst, it is potentially illegal, as seen in the similar situation with ESEA, where they were fined $1 million. However, even if it is not the UFC directly, it raises an additionally awkward question. How good is the security protocols if someone can do this? Think about it. If for a site with access to people's Facebook accounts and credit card information, the fact that this happened is not good. Regardless of who did it, the UFC has to take at least part of the blame. The fact that we have yet to hear anything from them is concerning at best. As I typed from u/jmister1 posted, I emailed UFC about this earlier this morning, and they finally responded with this: "Thank you for contacting us on this issue. We take these matters very seriously, and will review this UFC.tv support." Okay. How do I stay safe? While it is extremely unlikely you suffered any damage or are at any enhanced risk from this incident, this is likely to become more commonplace over time with many sites. Learn to protect yourselves. There are some great responses to this comment by, u/1kasha1 and u/totally_rocks about using uBlock and Antminer to protect yourself, which you should definitely check out. Misconceptions. I've seen a few people mention Bitcoin mining. This is not the case in this example. Bitcoin tends to be more GPU intensive and doesn't work very well relying on CPU power. Monero was likely the cryptocurrency being mined, which works better for CPU-based setups. Also worth noting, but Monero has had a sharp increase in value over the last 24 hours, potentially unrelated, but worth pointing out. Also, a lot of people are blaming CoinHive. As far as I can tell, they are not compliant at all and seem to be getting blamed unfairly. They advise against using the software in this manner. They are like torrent sites in that they have legitimate uses but can be abused, which is what we are seeing here. From what I understand, the CoinHive was designed to be an alternative to traditional web advertisements, not as an additional profit supplement to advertising and or subscription fees that we may be seeing here. And I added may. There was also a news article written about this, and we'll go ahead and click on that. Hopefully the media gets involved and we get some sort of explanation. It is important we don't let companies get away with stepping all over us for a service that we pay. For the future, I am maintaining an ad block list that blocks CoinHive and other similar sites. Should prevent such websites from mining without your permission. Sites that let you opt in by default and have an easy way to opt out are not put on the list. And there we go. And so, yeah. Now, I did think of one other explanation. And follow me if you will here. So say you've got a group of people and they're coordinated together in for some purpose, right? Now, whether they be corporate or government espionage, I couldn't really tell you. But I've been watching a few things happen on the internet lately, and they lead me to believe that they are actually live tests for what will be later some sort of taxation. That the government says, "Oh, you're not paying enough on your pay-per-view UFC, so we're going to inject this shit and we're going to mine it out of your users." Or some shit to that effect. Or maybe you personally haven't been paying enough in your taxes, so we're going to tax your browser use with this Monero miner, and you're gonna fucking pay. If you want to access the internet, you're gonna fucking pay. And the other one, ransomware, and ransomware, I think could be really interesting because, imagine we get to a point where all of your information is on a blockchain, right? It could literally be blocked. They could lock down your transactions in the blockchain, depending on how they're storing it, and everything associated with you. Maybe they have your social security locked down with a some sort of, I don't know, a 6 of 10 code or some shit like that, and you only have 2 of them, and then they have the other 8, and they supposedly only have 3, right? But they have the other 5 to leverage if they really need to, right? So they can always win. You can never outvote them. Because number one, you don't even know about the other votes. You don't know that you're not getting a fair distribution of the keys, because they're not implicit. They're not explicit in any of the agreement that you're signing up to. And it's not like you're actually going to review the code and say, "Oh, hey, wait a minute. This has a 10 key set transaction on it, on the end of it, and I'm only getting 2 keys. What the fuck?" I mean, really, are you going to be doing that kind of code review when you're clicking on "I agree" on a fucking website? No. But it goes to the point of why of trying to maintain such security on something as simple as UFC access. When I say that, I mean so if I got UFC Fight Pass, all the different fights that I watch and when I watch them and so on and so forth, those are all how should I say this? They're all potential factors in the study of somebody's psychological profile. While you're amassing all the data on them, you might be able to sort out some impressions that they're deriving from the kind of media that they're consuming, or what their thought patterns are based on the kind of media that they're consuming and the stimuli they're absorbing. And I have to wonder about the purpose behind all of that. I mean, it's why would you want to gather all of this data? I mean, it's more than they just want to sell you shit. I mean, that seems like such a how should I say it? Pedestrian kind of explanation for it. I mean, now if you were say taking the Leary interpersonal grid, where you're studying somebody's personality traits, and you were to use that as your defining criteria for somebody's behavioral model, and you just you feed in all kinds of associations from their Twitter feed and their Facebook and the pictures that they post and all kinds of shit like that, and you get some sort of readout at the end, right? If this person is likely to be a terrorist, or this person is likely to be a hub of their community, or this person is likely to be a potential inventor of stuff. We should watch their shit so we can patent mine everything that they put out, you know. Like I said, I'm only led to suspicion with it because it's all like it all seems kind of arbitrary, you know. But I don't believe there is anything so arbitrary as that. I feel like there's always a purpose to something. Somebody is rewarding somebody for it. And again, I don't believe it is something as simple as, you know, wanting to sell you more cars or more houses or more hammers or anything like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I don't know if I played any Meshuggah tonight. I don't think I have. Let's go ahead and throw down something from Ob's End here, Lethargica, here on Coin Metal. And that was 6th with No Wishbones. Yeah. And so I started diving a little bit deeper into this this whole cryptojacking thing, and somebody actually, I guess, came up with a word for it, cryptojacking. And this is on bleepingcomputer.com. Cryptojacking craze. Malwarebytes says it blocks 8 million requests per day. And this is by Caitlin Sipanu, and she wrote this on November 8th of 2017 at approximately 6:15 p.m. The in-browser cryptojacking craze that has taken over the internet is getting worse by the day, and more sites are implementing such systems intentionally or after getting hacked. Malwarebytes, one of the first major antivirus companies that have added support for blocking such scripts, has recently released a report detailing statistics from the last month. According to the Malwarebytes team, Malwarebytes product have blocked on average around 8 million requests per day to domains hosting in-browser cryptocurrency mining scripts. In total, the company says it blocked nearly 248 million requests during the entire month of October 2017, and that most of these requests were for CoinHive, today's most popular in-browser Monero mining service. The number of actual users affected by this plague is most certainly much higher. This is because Malwarebytes does not block CoinHive and similar scripts by default, but prompts the user via a pop-up, letting users select what they want to do. In addition, not all internet users utilize the Malwarebytes antivirus, which means the real number of requests to mining scripts is most likely on the realm of tens of millions of requests per day. The number is also much higher since special proxy services have popped up online that allow some website operators to evade ad blockers and antivirus solutions by tunneling CoinHive requests through other domains. While some websites do the right thing and ask users for permission to mine cryptocurrency inside their browser, some do not. The InfoSec community has been aggressively fighting back against websites that run in-browser in-browser mining scripts without the user's consent. A website launched this month named Who Runs CoinHive helps users track some of these sites. Nearly 2,500 e-commerce stores found hosting mining scripts. Oh, wow. Let's click on that? Oh no, it's not actually. Yeah, that is a link. Pardon me. Another interesting find came this week from Dutch security researcher Willem de Groot. The expert found that 2,496 online shops running in-browser miners. The interesting part is that 80% of these sites also hosted credit card skimming malware that steals payment card details from stores' checkout forms. This small detail shows that in most cases, these scripts are deployed by crooks and not the website owners themselves. This may also be the case of the official UFC Fight Pass service, which was also caught mining cryptocurrency while users were watching UFC fights. Ironically, despite a pretty obvious screenshot and multiple users confirming the findings of security researcher Troy Mersich, the company denied it hosted the script or getting hacked to host the script. Android game disguises mining behavior as rewards program. Last but not least, cybersecurity firm Ixia published today a case study of a few Android apps that also push cryptocurrency miners onto users. Ixia research is interesting because the owner of the apps, which are still available through the official Google Play Store, has cleverly packaged the in-app cryptocurrency mining behavior as a way to win in-game currency, albeit he did not make it clear to users that their phones were actually being used to mine cryptocurrency when this happens. Besides Android apps, new in-browser miners have also popped up online in the past few weeks, since Bleeping Computer's last Cryptojacking reports 1 and 2. The new additions are Coinera and Papodo, both discovered by Mersich. Of the two, Papodo has already made a name for itself in InfoSec circles after it started mass mailing website owners offering its, quote, new FUD browser miner with, quote, better payouts when compared to the competition. To end this article on a good note, the team behind the WordPress.org plugins directory has officially taken a stance against plugins that package in-browser miners in their code, recently banning the, quote, animated weather widget by weather4.us plugin. Oh, wow. Could you imagine that? A fucking animated weather widget is mining cryptocurrency in the background. That's just... That's fucked up. That's just fucked up. Oh, man. And, you know what? We're actually going to get into this. I've got the Malwarebytes report right here. And, fuck it. It's 13 pages. We can plow through this bad boy. Here it is, October 2017. A look into the global, quote, drive-by cryptocurrency mining phenomenon. This is by Malwarebytes. Jerome Segura, lead malware intelligence analyst. Introduction. Contrary to traditional money, cryptocurrencies are not issued by a central bank or authority. Instead, this digital asset can be produced by, quote, mining, a process that involves solving complex mathematical and cryptographic algorithms. Bitcoin is one of the most famous cryptocurrencies, but now requires exceptional computational power to be mined. Cryptocurrencies were bound to trigger the interest of criminals, and it wasn't long before coin mining malware made an appearance and addressed the scalability and resource-intensive process by enrolling as many bots as possible for the common effort. Several other cryptocurrencies continue to come out, including Monero XMR, which, unlike Bitcoin, can be mined by average computers. Unsurprisingly, many malware authors jumped to compromise new hosts to deliver Monero-based mining malware. An important milestone in the history of crypto mining happened around mid-September when a company called CoinHive launched a service that could start mining for Monero directly within a web browser using a simple JavaScript library. To differentiate browser-based mining from other previous forms, many started to label these instances as JavaScript miners or browser miners. Now every website owner has the ability to monetize their content simply from users visiting their page. While the idea had a lot of merit, its implementation was a disaster and led to immediate abuse. CoinHive is not the only service that facilitates JavaScript mining, but is by far the most popular, which is why we will focus on it in this paper. From drive-by download to drive-by mining. Drive-by download is a term often used to describe web-based threats when a computer becomes infected by simply visiting a website without any other interaction required. In their heyday, exploit kits ruled the world of drive-by downloads and were feared by many, especially as they sometimes used zero-day vulnerabilities that caught software vendors by surprise, allowing to infect even the most up-to-date systems. But as exploit kit activity dwindled, malware authors went for other distribution methods, which meant using more social engineering tricks. Similar to drive-by downloads, browser-based mining flourished almost overnight and was rolled out in such a way that users had no idea it was happening to them. Such was the case with the Pirate Bay, which started to turn visitors to its site into cryptocurrency miners without their knowledge or consent. These incidents are also referred to as cryptojacking, an interesting term that includes the notion of hijacking, which happens to be the computer resources of the visitors. Unlike drive-by downloads that push malware, drive-by mining focuses on utilizing the processing power of visitors' computers to mine cryptocurrency. While both are automatic and silent processes, the early implementation of the CoinHive API allowed for abuse by running the code full throttle, therefore maxing out the user's CPU as seen in Figure 1. Just about any site. Any average computer or even phone can be used to produce certain kinds of digital currency. One of the obvious signs of drive-by mining activity is a slow computer or a particularly warm device, which means the CoinHive API has not been configured properly and mining activity is taking too many system resources. While there have not been many there may not have been malicious intent in mind, this JavaScript-based cryptocurrency mining was released to the world before there was any proper discussion on how to use it responsibly. Early adopters of the technology were torrent portals and video streaming websites that typically rely on aggressive ads to monetize their content. On those sites, pop-unders, and other delivery methods that are designed to bypass ad blockers are commonplace, showing a lack of respect for visitors' web experience and safety. For this reason, the integration of web-based crypto mining, oftentimes on top of existing ads, without any kind of warning, was not a big surprise. Ironically, in many of the cases, mining isn't only running unbeknownst to end users, but also to the site owners themselves. For instance, CBS Showtime was reported as running a miner on its site for a brief period of time, which resulted in some bad PR. Additionally, web security company Sucuri has identified several campaigns affecting various platforms, including WordPress and Magento, where compromised sites are injected with the mining code. Attackers are going to great lengths to obfuscate the payload and still rely on the original CoinHive API that does not require user approval to run. On its own, a hacked website may not draw much traffic, but attackers can mass scan the web for vulnerabilities and compromise hundreds or even thousands of sites at once. One way to connect those hacked sites together is by checking the CoinHive site key they are using. If it is the same, it's likely that they are part of the same infection campaign. In a few cases, threat actors are double dipping to deliver their intended payload, but also to insert some crypto mining. For instance, rogue advertisers have used online ads to load the mining code surreptitiously in malvertising attacks. There is also the case of tech support scammers that use browser lockers to scare victims into thinking they have a virus. The greedy scammers thought that silently mining while users are pondering what to do was a good idea. With scale comes profit. Mining cryptocurrency requires resources that those computers consume. As those computers consume electricity that comes out of your power bill. To be profitable, the mining activity must cost less than the power consumption it generates. According to Spider Labs, mining in the US would add between about $2.90 to $5 per month to your electricity bill per machine. What's interesting about drive-by mining is that it makes use of other people's machines, and the more web traffic you can generate, the more chances you have of solving crypto challenges and get a payout. Imagine a website like thepiratebay.org, which brings an estimated 282 million visitors a month who spend an average of 5 minutes on the site. Torrent Frank ran some numbers based on a typical user with a mid-range laptop that would make for a hash rate of about 30 hashes per second. The Pirate Bay would get 127.5 XMR per month, which is roughly $12,000 at the same time the article was published. Forced miners from around the world. Ever since we started detecting and blocking CoinHive domains, we were astounded by the numbers. On the average, we have been registering about 8 million blocks per day, preventing unauthorized drive-by mining onto our users. The following maps and charts are based on telemetry data, which we collected for about a month since CoinHive's inception. We added up every time we blocked domains and proxies involved with drive-by mining and cross-referenced it with the user's country of origin. And it's almost exclusively in the United States. Yep. Top 10 countries exposed to drive-by mining. The United States is the biggest section of the pie with 32%, Spain at 14.1%, France at 12%, Italy 9.3%, Canada 8.7%, United Kingdom 6.1%, Brazil 5.7%, Mexico 4.3%, Romania 4.2%, and Russia 3.7%. And let's see, for the US map, it looks like the vast majority, like almost like 99% of it, is happening in California. The drive-by mining activity. It looks like there's a little bit happening pretty much everywhere in the United States. There's not all that much in the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. There's quite a bit in Texas, quite a bit in Florida. New York is pretty heavy. Illinois is a little bit redder than most, but California is like blazing red on this map. I mean, like blazing red in contrast to several hues of pink and only slightly higher amounts of red in Texas, Florida, and New York. Ethical and legal aspects. The Pirate Bay incident was a starting point for many discussions about the ethical and even legal aspects of unsolicited crypto mining. Some people argued that running unwanted code on people's machines may have legal implications, while others claimed that this was perfectly normal for websites to do. Prolonged mining at full capacity may affect computers and mobile devices as well, especially if those are not ventilated properly. A case could be made for irresponsible use of a mining application in case of hardware failure. Perhaps the most contentious point was the lack of user awareness and the fact that too many sites were simply not enforcing any sort of throttling, resulting in excessive amounts of CPU being consumed for a degraded overall web experience. Many security companies, as well as various ad blockers, have started to block CoinHive and other crypto mining domains as a result. Browser makers are also weighing in their options following complaints of unwanted and high CPU usage. As soon as efforts to block crypto mining become apparent, we started seeing services that offer to bypass those blocks by using proxies, for example. It was to be expected, of course, but this cat and mouse game ends up being at the expense of the user. Any site that continues to silently force crypto miners may earn a negative mark and get itself blacklisted, ultimately resulting in a drop in web traffic. While proxies and obfuscation techniques will continue to exist, CoinHive could not ignore the issue that was starting in its face, and quickly responded with a new API that can prevent web owners from forcing the cryptocurrency miner onto their visitors. In short, the new initiative allows end users to opt in or out. That's cool. In a statement, CoinHive reiterated its initial vision with the important caveat of responsible use. By this measure, it hopes ad blockers and antivirus products will not interfere. We believe that browser-based mining can be a viable alternative for intrusive and annoying ads if used honestly and with the consent of the user. We kindly ask adblock and antivirus vendors to support us. However, this new API won't immediately stop the drive-by mining abuse until the old API, still active, is completely retired. And while CoinHive appears to be making steps towards better integration, others might not be. There is so much interest around cryptocurrencies, and heists are commonplace. In fact, the first major incident to target CoinHive has already happened. Attackers took control of CoinHive's DNS records and pointed them to a third-party server, thereby making all the profit from mining transactions. However, it's worth noting that CoinHive took responsibility and ensured lost revenue would be reimbursed. Conclusion. CoinHive is the first to admit it's surprised at how quickly their project has taken off. While they had a part to play in the misuse of their technology, the same could be said for website owners that kept things on the down low rather than notifying their visitors about this new monetization tool. Browser-based crypto mining has a lot in its favor, though, considering the online ad industry has been dealt many blows over the past few years, in large part due to the increased usage of ad blockers. In the end, the future success of web-based mining as a business model will be based on honest communication with users and the almost mandatory opt-in, which is the main characteristic that differentiates it from drive-by mining. However, the same kind of abuse we have witnessed over the years with ads, i.e. malvertising, has already manifested itself and is perpetrated by dubious website owners or criminals. The problem can be summarized by a fundamental question asked many times, quote, "Are you running a coin miner on your site, or have you been hacked?" Clearly, trust can only be gained with transparency. Absolutely. And so what to think of all this, man? I mean, I think that one of the biggest problems is regulation of the internet. You know, that there have been too many barriers introduced into participation on the internet. See, I think that your only requirement for using the internet is that you be receiving and retransmitting the internet. You know, that you be like a node, basically, for the internet. You know, as long as you're providing electricity to it and you're pumping the signal back out and people are receiving it and whatnot, and you're propagating their packets too indiscriminately, I think that would be a far better model for the internet than this bullshit about mining shit in the background on your computer. I mean, I think that is so far beyond the question of ethics. I mean, really, it's like they don't even ask you if you want to opt in or not. They're just like, fuck you. You're gonna pay for this website one way or another. Because you know, we're not making enough money from your willing absorption of our media that we're just going to steal some of your CPU power and mine cryptocurrency and unduly reward ourselves. I mean, come on now, man. That's just fucked up. But like I said, it really makes you wonder who is doing it. You know, is it the UFC? Is it Showtime? Is it the Pirate Bay? Or is it some group that is just using the fact that these are really high value targets? You know, that they're I mean, it almost indicates to me a strategic kind of distribution, you know, of the attack. That they're not just targeting specific like mom and pop shops. They're targeting everybody. And the best way to do that is to go to places like Amazon.com and act as a man in the middle there. I mean, you could get access to all kinds of information doing that shit, I would suppose. But, you know, again, it does leave the question of who exactly is the responsible party. I mean, there's a lot of possible candidates all the way around, you know.
And it's with that I want to go ahead and wrap up this episode. As you can probably tell, I've been getting a little bit of congestion, man. It's like ever since that concert, man, it's been trying to take me down, and I've just been running and drinking lots of fluids, make sure I get plenty of rest, that kind of business, stretching, trying to keep my health up. Anyway, we will be back again on Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I want you all to trade safe, because honestly, I don't think this whole fucking Segwit 2X thing is over yet. I think there's still yet a chapter to play out, and we'll have to wait until November 15th to figure out exactly what the fuck is going on, man, because it's not apparent as of yet. Anyway, as far as what to close it out with, we'll go with Hangar 18. And so until Monday, I want y'all to trade safe, do your homework, and watch out for your bunghole, because CoinHive is probably going to be trying to use it to mine Monero. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. Like and subscribe on YouTube. I will be posting this as soon as I possibly can. I am getting an episode up right now from 10/25/2017. And so that one ought to be finished uploading here in just a moment or two. I'll finish that off and get that link out to you guys on my Twitter and also on Telegram as well. And so on Monday, y'all have an excellent weekend.